I did not lock it. Okay, we're here to do a very quick update because I haven't seen you guys for a couple of days, and I did want to come to you to give you some updates about the transits and basically to be prepared as to what's coming up, both psychically, spiritually, and astrologically. So, number one, this is one of those weeks between now and the 15th. We've basically got Mercury in shadow. That doesn't mean to say we're out of the woods, but that's not a bad thing. Hi, True Heart. So, what can be coming up is those areas in your life will be coming at you faster. Now, having moved out of, hi, sweet, the full moon in Virgo, the resonance will be there pretty much until the new moon in Pisces. And that's because we are upgrading, we're healing, we're needing to have the devil in the detail. We're getting to a point where we're having to look after our health and our well-being, but your mind potentially can be super busy. Hey, giggle. So it's going to be, so from a psychological point of view, going through that portal of the full moon, it may have been purgatory. Some of you might have gone into fear-based frequency. Some of you may have got to the point that your mind was too busy and it was affecting your sleep. It also can relate to health. So Virgo is the virgin sign. It's those new beginnings, what they're going to be, returning to innocence, and it's having that fresh slate. It's also about what can we do to implement that and bring that about. Now, the interesting thing is we do currently have the sun in Pisces. So the way we're showing up in the world is very Neptunian in nature. Now, what do we mean by that? Now, Neptune, it's a bit like the delusionist, you know, it's a magician energy. It's the sort of energy that comes through and it's very dreamlike. So what I have found in previous years with my coaching, and I do speak to, you know, counselors and therapists and their domain of work, and we do share and exchange stories relating to the styles of clients, you know, what potentially can be coming up. Now, in the higher octane, it can be a time where we can have a lot of psychic downloads, and you will find the veil is very thin. So as to, on the malefic, we can have hauntings. We can be seeing passed over loved ones. We may be having dream states directly connected to them. It does become a higher vibration of a potentiality due to the fact that it's very Neptune in nature. So from a psychic point of view, yes, I can say that that's actually happened to me most recently. It's been very high, and I have been seeing a lot of passed over energies. Hi, Eddie. So, yeah, it's very common. So the good thing is your guides can be there. The other energy can be that because of that, what you do tend to find is if souls have unfinished business, you know, and they're resolving things on the 4D and they've got stuck. It depends on the vibration they were, right, before they moved out. Hi, Houston. So yes, I'll do a separate video relating to that. But yes, you can have sort of connection to source, your guides, and passed over loved ones during this time. The other element can be with Pisces on the high octane, if we have intuition relating to what our hope and dream is, and this, yes, we have it in Venus. So with Venus being in Pisces, it can be very romantic, and it can be both good and bad. The reason I say that is because it's a bit like a Venus retrograde, right? It's like dreamy, it's beautiful, it can be psychedelics and things like that. We can tap into pacifiers as well during this time. So if a person from a humanistic experience isn't coping with ascension, isn't coping with life's vibrations and feeling very stagnant and blocked, it will come down to chakra balancing and blockages, depending on what's coming up in your astrology, in your chart. So for each individual, we'll be taking on that demeanor, and I will mention that, you know, in the next video that I do, and we'll talk about those placements and what can be coming up for us. Number one, we have the sun in Pisces, so it's the way we show up, and yes, it can be ego. It can also be the energy we're putting into our hopes and dreams, and sometimes we can be looking at it going, okay, if we're wanting that to happen, what will we need to do to actually have that occur? Now, with Pisces, it can push us to the lower octane of disillusionment and use pacifiers to cope with the frequency because we're tired, we're fatigued. It can be a few too many giddy ups. things that we use to kind of, modern Indians used to use it to actually have that out-of-body experience. And yes, we can be drawn to that if we are not coping. The thing is, that's always going to be a temporary situation, but during that state, you can be more inclined to get psychic attacks, but you also may have that dream state energy to give you some of the solutions. You're also going to have in your dream state a lot of upgrades and healing at the moment. Now, on the 1st, we have Mercury squaring Lilith. So what does that mean? Number one, Mercury is in shadow until the 13th, where we have the new moon in Pisces. So all of the energies of Pisces for you in your chart, whatever's coming up, whatever you need to transform, whatever that dream is, it's a huge innovator. You're going to be seeing, in order to have that with both Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius, what that's going to mean. So that whole retrograde was showing us where somehow we had fallacies to do with what people needed from us, what was the right amount to give, what was the wrong amount to give, where potentially we had, because Saturn wants you to give, a bit to stay strict with yourself, and Jupiter wants to expand. So, trying to find that healthy boundary between what to give and what not to give, you're needing to come down to a space where you're very practical about offering. Now, because we also have the nodes in Gemini, this is one of those months being that Virgo's Mercury and Gemini is Mercury. So you may be getting headaches, you may be getting sinus. And again, I'm not a medical practitioner. This is more from an astrological point of view. You can be drawn to have all that Mercury energy going on. That can be idle gossip. We need to be careful of that during this time, because we may be sharper with our opinions, and especially because Pisces is very spiritual in nature, we may really want to show a person this is the value system, this is how it is, and this is why it is. But it can be very romantic, and you may find between now and the new moon in Pisces, we're starting that new energy where you can be bringing that frequency in. So with facing our shadow inside of our connections and contracts, because we did have Venus in Mercury, it's now in Pisces. Looking at it, what we had then and what we were regressing back on, we're now looking at it going, okay, now if we want those things to happen, what's my side of the fence? What can I do on my side of the fence to create that? There can be, with the squares, difficulties in our thoughts and processes and facing our shadow. Fear-based frequency to do with finances, abundance, self-worth energy. And that's more coming through on the 1st. Now, on the 2nd, you will be, when it does come to your contracts and partnerships and your movement and your interactions, you will more easily flow through those circumstances and be able to address things, and you may be very busy as the week progresses. So if you're needing to rest, sort of work with it to a point that you're going to require that energy. If you have attachment and you're in lack mentality, it's okay. The more you can move into detachment and just merely do what you can do, you're going to find those things directly from a spiritual point of view will come towards you, and it's going to be unblocked, and you're going to move forward very quickly. On the 3rd, we have Venus sextiling Uranus and Taurus. We also have Chiron trining the moon. What you're going to find on the 3rd is it could be very unique in the way it's coming through. We are having Mars transit into Gemini, which can be a little bit of a bumpy ride, but the reprieve is going to be your diet and your eating can come down to a settling effect. A lot of nerves were coming from Mars. Mars can amplify. So with your diet, with your routine, with your health being the new moon and the full moon in Virgo, what you can find is, because it's very 2nd house placement collectively, we may have been overindulging. We may have been on food groups, then off food groups, and digestion can be coming through that process, because moon is emotion. And now we're tapping into the psychology of our energy and why particularly this can be coming up. So it's almost like emotional psychology, but it's looking at our body and seeing what can come up, but it can cause nervous energies in nervous system, especially with Uranus and Taurus. But you can find that you'll be able to address those things as the week progresses, and it is going to get busier over slower, because Mercury is very quick, but it can be day-to-day routines, getting things in order. Okay, well, what needs to be shifted about in your life so that you can have a more flowing life? Now, during the retrograde, you may have found that You were beating your head against the wall. Subjects to do with your past and your childhood were coming up. Subjects to do with your relationships and your connections. Creative endeavors, frustrations relating to that. All of those heavy hitting energies that were playing out, you're going to find some reprieve as it moves forward. From a holistic approach, diet and energy should change, and you can find that you're going to become busier, so it should relieve. But most of you, from a spiritual point of view, would have been having irritability with sleep, ascension symptoms, nervous energy. Again, that should start flowing more healthily so as we move through, and we'll tap more into the 3D of taking direct actions, whereas before it was more spiritual. The mind is becoming busy due to the fact, Virgos, there, and it's saying to us, have you looked at the devil in the detail? What are you doing to in order to heal this? And again, because we are in that emotional realm of healing, yes, during that fatigue, we're purging the ego, so it's coming through in that fashion. Your sleep state will come back to a natural space, but it's about doing things in moderation, engaging your body. When you move past that point of the new moon in Pisces, you're going to get a different vibration, and Mercury will be out of shadow direct, and your mind will be able to deal with these details, but it is going to be pretty busy. We will have a 2-month pocket of all directs, and it's our opportunity to deal with those circumstances. At an emotional level, yes, a lot of us were looking at, it can be lack mentality. Why didn't this happen? Why do people not understand my point of view? Healthy boundaries. But we might have been going over that psychology emotionally as well. So as I mentioned, by the 13th, even on the 11th, we have the Sun making a conjunction to Neptune and Pisces, facing our shadow, looking at those hopes and dreams. And it can be, for some of you, it's your love life, especially for those of you that are twins. But don't forget, in twin flame path, it's not just the absolute connection. The blockages can come from things that we're doing in our life, and sometimes even just emotionally coming to terms with it. So, from a spiritual point of view, and especially with my coaching that I've done over the weekend, it's been pretty busy. The one thing that has been coming up is, us actually emotionally looking at our old patterns. Why did we do that? Why has that not happened? Why was that given to other people, not us? And again, it's us facing our shadow. So if they were to come back, a lot of the weird energy would be, you'd be too tired for it and be like, yeah, hey, whatever. So there's reasons why separation happens. There's also reasons why the reconnection comes. And if you do have communication and movement, take it as a compliment, because it means, you've reached a point that you're able to deal with that frequency, and it's coming for a reason. So you need to trust that process. Some things we're going to be leaving behind, and this can be spiritual baggage, junk, and other things. To a degree, you'll find that these hopes and dreams, you'll be able to implement them. So what have we been experiencing in the house? Past week, very challenging. Weird dreams will come from Neptune. And again, it's a great time to clear your house. The Virgo energy is about cleaning. It's, it can be a bit OCD in its nature. We can be having this demeanor towards ourselves. Can be psychoanalyzing ourselves. Have we done something wrong? Why am I getting these energies? Again, sit with it, but also, I'm going to do some videos that is going to help us really from the most rational point of view, work through the matrix of these energies. And again, the Virgo is the virgin. So it is the inner child. It's the innocence. And it can be victim, perpetrator energy. It can be, why did this happen? And again, a lot of times feminines are being very hard on themselves. Masculines can be too. And the situation of that is, looking at that and looking at it and being gentle on yourself, but then as soon as you can, jump back out of it. And I'll do coaching based on that separately. From an emotional point of view, yes, it can be coming up, but the cleaning can be coming up, detoxing, getting into light body frequency, clearing your home, because during during Pisces season, you can find, yes, if you're really down, Do some guided meditation based on expanding your auric field, especially for those of you that are in hermit mode through ascension, not through choice of what's happening in the collective. What you do tend to find is you will be like a sponge. So your auric field will not only be absorbing cosmic energy from twin, you will be absorbing energy from other people as well. And so that self-mastery can become quite difficult when you will feel you're getting psychic attacks. So it's about your auric field. It's energetically, the more we expand that field, you can get to a space where the crap's not going to come in. Okay? What's another thing? Bedroom clearing. Do some bedroom cleansing. Open the window. Let new chi energy in. If you need to journal to see where that root cause of that pain body experience is coming from. If there are things that you're frustrated by and they're agitating you, because Virgo's there, it's a great time to document some of your ideas because you won't be able to implement all of them at one point. So clearing your room, if information's coming to you in overload, remove yourself from white noise, journal it down in an idea sense. If emotions are coming up, again, write it down. If you have to, get your phone out and, audio record yourself and go back after and listen to it. And it doesn't mean on the same day. Give it a few days if you're moving through the purge and then go back and listen to it. And you may find locations and reasons why that has come up for you, and it won't be linked to one person. It will be a pattern. So we're basically, purging timelines. You will be jumping timelines, and that's why the purgatory energy is there. It's because we can't take that spiritual junk with us. It has to come out of us, and it won't serve the purpose of where you're going. Any questions? So clear your rooms. As you said, crystal grid. You can do smudging, clear your sheets, wash your sheets, go into, your bath practices. Try to have a routine. So when you're in hermit mode energy, hermit in the tarot, because you're having a spiritual upgrade, you can have a very basic routine, and it may be necessary to stick to that routine. Even to have purpose during the day is going to help you move through the ascension symptoms. But if we're spending a lot of time in bed, you're pouring all of that negative energy into the bedroom space, and it's going to need clearing a lot more. When your mind is going onto those energies that are blocking, you need to go to your saving grace, which is a direct routine. It can be getting up, going for a walk, having your morning routine, playing some meditation music, having something to do in that day so that you get to the point that your day is moving and you have purpose. Then the psychic attacks will be reduced. But while we're stagnant, you're going through the purgatory effect. To get out of that, you need to get to a point you can create a very basic routine. Start shifting the energy, and it will shift. Crystal grid can help. You can use crystals, tourmaline and amethyst in your room. Keep your fluid up because it is Pisces energy. So you may become more thirsty during this time. And with Virgo, it's about your diet, your health, changing your routine, and the stagnancy you're going to find. We do have higher heart chakra occurring. And as we move to Pisces, it's going to be crown. So yes, because and you'll find, especially when you're purging, you'll need more fluid. It's due to the fact it comes out in your pores. It can come through in the bathroom. It can be nauseation. Yeah, well, rose quartz will help as well from a heart chakra healing. But, tourmaline, I'd say you can wear with you daily. But you should always rotate it and clear it. What else? Other gems that are more chakra-based, don't use them all the time. Give them a holiday, because what you're doing is extending your auric field. If you are using it all the time, it's very similar to, there's a lot of videos on YouTube which are fantastic, but from my experience, when you have blockages in your chakra, you'll get stagnant energy, and you also can gain weight. So there can be pain body experiences coming through and ailments. I'm going to do masculine and feminine balancing energy, and you tend to find, I was looking at this the other day, you asked me. So I had a pain body experience during the week, and it was in the feminine energy. Because on one side of the brain it's masculine, one side it's feminine, and it crosses over. So the left side of the direct body is feminine. The right side of the body is masculine, but then it swaps in the brain. So, needing to nurture yourself, needing to have time to tune into your intuition. So balancing those energies, you can even find it through in your nasal passages. One will be stronger than the other. And it can be an imbalance between the yin and yang, the masculine and the feminine, which at times is normal because you are needing one side more than the other. But it's a bit like life and the scales. If you don't balance them, you will become imbalanced and you will feel angry and resentful towards that not being indulged in. So we do need that healthy balance between, okay, I'm going into doing everything. You're going to get depleted. Wow, okay, that's where the ascension comes from. Wow, I've got to integrate my feminine. So for a lot of you, there can be an imbalance between the energy at the moment. And we could potentially be looking at that and going, why am I not getting this? Get on you, Chris. My partner intuitively said I need a stone to sleep with and picked one for me. That's good. I've had even, partners lately even suggesting, go and talk to your friend. Look, intuitively, your soul tribe, even your family members, can be brother, sister, mother, father. It can be a girlfriend. They'll see your chi energy off. So, with that, if you're hearing it, it means they're connected. We potentially aren't. And that's okay. We don't have to be connected all the time. Sometimes we need some reciprocity and we need to have a break, and it's okay to be in that vibration. But you do tend to find through the separation energy, for those of you that are soul path members, going through ascension symptoms, it's very natural to have a huge purge of the ego at a point in your journey. And it is hermit mode energy. And there will be a point where you don't like people. I'll just say you don't want to be around their noise. It's very shadowy and noisy. That had been coming up during moving into the Virgo moon and out of it. And I actually can handle energy at a very high ratio. I'm able now to filter that and for it not to affect me. I've built up my auric field. But even me, I purge. So for me, I sit with it. I put myself in the naughty corner, and I'm not naughty, and I go have a look at that and I go, what's this showing me? What are these subjects coming up? And I feel for a lot of feminines at the moment, it's that need for balance. It's wanting happiness in our life. How can we implement that? Some, yes, are falling into the vibration of, why was twin able to give that to another person but not to me? And the thing is, a lot of it is a little bit like the man bag. It's very showy, but the thing is, many people will not show that on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, if they feel, how do I put it? It's like they're not selling the person's resume. So to a degree, it's a compliment. See it how you like. Any questions in the house before I love you and leave you? I will come back and I will put in the community tab when I'm able to come back for the twin flame update. And I will be trying to get onto the psychic energies, but I do have a lot of bookings today, but I didn't want to leave you guys in the lurch and not come to you without giving you a heads up. Now, I do feel by the 13th and probably even by about the 9th, you're going to find a lot of momentum. You could potentially, during this time, actually have communication. You do need to be drawn to understand not to romanticize situations. That's the lower octane and the higher octane. So Pisces collectively, especially for masculine at the moment, there is a lot of psychology coming through for them. So they are looking at their spiritual awakening. They're looking at how they're feeling to do with things. And feminines, what you do tend to find is, and this can be in your own life, as well as directly connected in soul path members, twin flame members. So from your point of view, in your masculine element, you're looking at the psychology surrounding why you have to do so many things and what can you do to actually make it more balanced. And it can be hard work being a masculine, especially for feminines. So you're moving into spiritual sense. Now, your DM, if you guys are being down in the dumps, give it a couple of days, their energy is going to be descending and you're going to be coming back up. And then you're going to have 3D tests. 3D tests aren't bad. It's universe and your guides asking you, okay, have you comprehended what this meant? How good are you at this challenge? And it's just a test. It's not personal. It's supposed to show you that you've evolved. It's not personal. Okay? So in the next few days, yes, masculines will be going through that soul healing, and they can be really connected in with their guides. But yes, if you have a masculine that maybe has used vices to handle ascension, it will be very temporary on this occasion. But yes, it can come up, and it can be something that is showing them. Sometimes when the ego's in the way, other things have to come in to actually help them raise, to show them that that's not going to work anymore. And you naturally will start rejecting certain foods through an awakening process. It does come back, but while you're purging through the chakras, you can go really off, mate. You can get to a point that you're detoxing jobs. This month is a vibration 3 as well. So it is about the Trinity. It's about as above, as below, as within, as without. So it's getting all of that in balance. It's duality energy. And, you know, success is assured, but you do need to do the work. And that's what the 3 vibrations are. But I'll do numerology energies later. I'll integrate that inside the dynamic of the next 2 moons, and I'll try and get them up ahead of time. So I'll connect your zodiac. You can stream forward, stream back, so you can see where that is. And I'll psychically channel those energies for you. Any questions? And I had a humanistic experience again. Bloody nail broke. Shit. I'm like, it's always got to happen. It's always when I'm really busy. And it was just, I did nothing. I moved my t-shirt. Unbelievable. It's okay. I do have more problems than a fingernail. Like, seriously. I'm human. No questions in the house? Your work situation. What do you want to know about it, my love? Number 1, Mercury's still in shadow. So yes, those circumstances are going to come towards you. And the thing is, 5s are all about change. Number 1, we're in Virgo energy. We're healing. We can be a little bit protective and vulnerable. We can be looking at, was I the perpetrator or the victim in the situation? And coming out of that is still okay. Now that we've looked at that, with what's in our power, what are we going to do with that? And you'll probably find there's going to be a lot coming towards you to show you the different facets of your belief systems, your conditioning inside of that job. It's funny because I feel that you don't second guess yourself, and it's natural to do such, but you could be changing your opinion about the environment altogether. I know. Yeah. But it's not permanent. As I mean, you know, it's like, yes, we can look at that. And yes, you know, it's good that they're aware of such, but it's not a permanency. It's changeable. It was environmental. Yeah. So it can feel like, you know, there was a bit of a betrayal there, which they're aware of in the contract. And there could be situations at work this week, maybe that can get a bit tense, but just don't take it personal. Step back, let them do it. Okay? You'd be like, it's cold, it's, you know, and it's vibe right now. But as I mentioned, we need to be very careful about what we say to people. We need to be very cautious about, you know, how we see things. It's been crazy. Yeah. Paperwork, tell me about it. Yeah, and I think that's what it's showing us. So, see, look, 2021 is the kickoff for the next 20 years for us. This is the way we're going to look at it. So we came out of 2020 with Uranus and Taurus retrograde. It then went direct, and it's sudden changes that can vibrationally really shift us. And that's Happy New Year. You know, move into the new year theoretically. And we're always finding very similar to the Chinese New Year. It tends to kind of hit March, especially with unions. It's always transition over, transition over. I've always seen it, especially in my connection. Shifts happen around that time. With that factor in mind, when we had the retrograde with Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, it's showing us both Saturn and Jupiter elements. Now, Jupiter's only going to be there till mid-year. So what it's showing us is very separate to our romantic interest. It's showing us every facet of life. What do we need to do? A lot of it can be paperwork coming up. Oh my gosh, I didn't see that. And during a Mercury retrograde, 9 times out of 10, you're going to find a fallacy you were basing something on, and gee, I didn't see that coming. Okay, quality assurance, let's shift it about so this doesn't have to be a problem later. So I guarantee many of you have already done that. And you're like, right, I'm shifting things around. Now, March will be better, but yes, you will have to do the work. So initially you can be just upgrading and repairing yourself. It's been a year and 2 months because we had the Mercury energy in retrograde. It was the Sun, Venus, and all the rest of it. So you're still recovering. So it's a little bit like shell shock. It's like, oh God, I've just been through the washing machine cycle and then through the ringer. Now, where is life imbalanced? And you're a soul, you need to feed it, right? And this was what I was saying to Andrew earlier today. I was like, if we are only working, or purging, it's out of balance. Reciprocity. Go back into the Virgin energy with the Virgo moon. Okay, it was a full moon. Summer's got to come to an end. What are we going to do? In order to change something up, we get a different cake. If we keep cooking it the same, you're going to keep getting the same. So shift some slight things about. It's intuitive. Nothing's guaranteed, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. Trust the process. But it's very intuitive. So that's why I say journal. You can have 101 ideas. It can be relating to your career. It can be relating to a difficult circumstance you're addressing. And for your divorce, Mercury going direct, you'll find movement there, right? It's in shadow, but these things are going to come towards you. More information, things to that degree. So it shifts if you put paperwork in. Moving slow and expensive. Yeah, well, Virgo is all about the details, but what's your zodiac, Isidore? Let me have a look at your chart. I'll tell you how I see it going. Because number one, we do have Mars moving into Gemini. So from your money point of view, if you've been paying a lot of bills, and you've been trying to get, land-related dynamics, family-related dynamics. Gemini and Scorpio moon. Okay, so... yeah, well, it does make sense because you have Taurus in the 7th house from the Scorpio element. Let's have a look at where... okay, we've got the Sun sextiling Pluto on the 16th. You'll find it will move, and you'll probably find it won't cost as much, but it can be to do with, okay, are you looking at anything? It's very Pluto in nature. So because we've got Mars transiting over to your karmic is Taurus, well, Venus is in Taurus, and Uranus is making 3 squares this year. So yes, you can find on the 3rd, there can be some movement and shift because we have Venus sextiling Uranus and Taurus. Also, when it comes to emotions and the moon, Mars is going to also be moving into Gemini, which for you lands in your 8th house, which is birth, deaths, legacies, and inheritances. So make sure you read the paperwork. But make sure you know what you're fighting for. If you're very fixed on how you see something, you might find the compassion energy will come back. With that, where it's not so tense. So yeah, your masculine will be having a 1st house placement. So they might be at war with themselves for a couple of months through to April, but they'll be really looking at themselves and going, okay, where have my actions been? What have I been doing? What can I pour my energy into? And usually 1st house isn't fun, especially with Mars. The one I'm really not looking forward to, which I think we all need to be super prepared for, is April the 23rd, and that's when Mars moves into Cancer. Yeah. So we've got Mars and Taurus at the moment till about the 4th. Then it moves to Gemini. And that's where movement, communication, too many things coming at us, moving forward. Healthier communication, providing we are coming from a spiritual sense, or it could be from a trigger sense, but it depends on how it goes. But I'll do a twin flame reading next. I'll put it in the community tab when I'm able to come to you, because as I mentioned, I've got to get my daughter up for school, and I have about 6 clients today. I think even 7. Yeah. So that's going to be an interesting day. So those of you in the house that are coming through, I'll see you soon. And if I just leave 10:15, inbox me and I'll call you straight back, because I may need a lavatory break. That's a long time to be sitting. No wonder I need to get my exercise on. Love and light. Taurus. I'll quickly look at Taurus and then I'll have to go. So Taurus at the moment is 2nd house. So income can be increasing, and it's kind of beneficial for Taurus, really. But it's also where their income comes from. What are they doing? What actions are they taking? Maybe a change in career happening, you know? With the element of the Taurian energy that you're dealing with in your divorce, the funny thing is they've got Scorpio in the 7th. So we have... You'll find that communication will flow better, but, you know, be very careful with your words and what you share. You know, don't follow up your paperwork, get things done, you know, be on point with it. But, yeah, just be super cautious with that. Anyway, if you want me to tune into it further, feel free to book a reading, and I can go into the whole details of the chart and, you know, when the best day is, what potentially can be coming through, and just cross-referencing both of you. Love and light. And I'll talk to you later.